I'm going to say this wrong. I'm so used to saying Precos. Observatory system. It's a long name. It's basically to tell you about a network of 12 monitoring stations in the river that keep a pulse on all sorts of variables from oxygen to turbidity, and you'll learn more from these wonderful researchers here. The sign showcases that effort in an attempt to get citizens engaged with how river monitoring informs practical things like restoration and policy and shipping and commerce and all sorts of things. And I'd like to introduce Stuart Finley from the Carey Institute, and he's going to kick off the day. And then Fran Dunwell from the Hudson River Estuary Program will conclude and shed light on this exciting project. So, without further ado.
Okay, thank you, Laurie. And thanks everyone for coming out. We tried very hard to arrange some good weather, and this is just the best we could do, and I apologize for that. The message for today is really about engaging people in the Hudson River and, in broader view, the natural resources of the state of New York. As you probably know, the walkway gets thousands of visitors a day from all walks of life. Some are quite local that live in Poughkeepsie or Highland. Some are from around the world, and they come to see the river and participate in the walkway. And the idea of the display is to bring some of the scientific knowledge we have about the river right to them as they're going on their walk or their ride. And so the display that Laurie alluded to is just to my left here. And it receives information on water quality that's collected at the Marist waterfront just behind you, just maybe a mile north of the walkway. And those observations, those data are sent by radio signal up to the walkway, and they're refreshed every 6 minutes, so it's very close to real time. There are a number of messages we want people to get from this information. The first is that the Hudson River is very dynamic. It's changing in one way or the other almost every second. The easiest thing to observe, and the thing that most casual walkers up here probably don't realize, is that the tides come and go at this point of the river and for some distance north. The tides rise and fall by about a yard twice a day. And you can tell by looking over the side, actually we are just about at high tide right now, so the water's not moving. But in another half an hour, the water will start going the other way, and the display will show that the elevation of the water, how high the water is, will start declining. And you can see that, every 6 minutes it'll go down and down and down a little bit more. So the message is that the river is very dynamic. And that's the simplest way it's dynamic. As part of the display, we try and have a small sort of science factoid that people can take away with them. And people that look over the railing and have a look at the water, they're always impressed with how murky the water looks. And in fact, it is on the murky side, no doubt about it. And we have some information up there from earlier in the summer when we had some very heavy rains, and the clarity of the water was much, much worse than it is today. And so in early July, middle of July, the turbidity, which is a measure of lack of clarity in actuality, the lack of clarity, the turbidity was about 200 units